August 28, Memorial of Saint Augustine, Bishop and Doctor. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You lock the kingdom of heaven before human beings. You do not enter yourselves, nor do you allow entrance to those trying to enter. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You traverse sea and land to make one convert, and when that happens, you make him a child of Gehenna twice as much as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if one swears by the temple, it means nothing, but if one swears by the gold of the temple, one is obligated. Blind fools! Which is greater, the gold or the temple that made the gold sacred? And you say, if one swears by the altar, it means nothing. But if one swears by the gift on the altar, one is obligated. You blind ones! Which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? One who swears by the altar swears by it and all that is upon it. One who swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it. One who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who is seated on it." The Gospel of the Lord. Woe to you, hypocrites! Jesus pronounces this invective against the scribes and Pharisees who hinder people from going to heaven. Instead of making them saints, these religious leaders are making people evil. They invent a lot of unnecessary things in the name of religion and require people to do them. They abuse their little knowledge and prestige. They take advantage of people's ignorance. Jesus calls these spiritual teachers hypocrites. They will be punished severely for misleading the people. They will not enter the kingdom of heaven. That is the consequence of their pretensions. It is true that we need teachers. It is dangerous to handle faith and scriptures just by oneself or without a good reference. But if even the teachers do not know their own theology, anything can happen. Theology puts all things about faith and traditions into their proper places. It is a kind of check and balance. It prevents or minimizes misinterpretation or erroneous conclusion. Do you know and live your faith enough to teach it by word and example?
August 26, Saturday. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Saint Matthew. Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have taken their seat on the chair of Moses. Therefore, do and observe all things, whatsoever they tell you. But do not follow their example, for they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to carry, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they will not lift a finger to move them. All their works are performed to be seen. They widen their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love places of honor at banquets, seats of honor in synagogues, greetings in marketplaces, and the salutation, Rabbi. As for you, do not be called Rabbi. You have but one teacher, and you are all brothers. Call no one on earth your father. You have but one Father in heaven. Do not be called Master. You have but one Master, the Christ. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." The Gospel of the Lord. You are all brothers. Jesus says this to his disciples to prevent them from acting like the scribes and Pharisees, who display unfraternal behavior. They have made their religion a staging ground to gain advantage over others. Their spiritual leverage feeds on their inordinate craving to be on top. Religious practice becomes vanity. They use their skill in interpreting the scriptures to stun people. Their advanced knowledge has become a status symbol. Thus, they easily manipulate the uneducated Jews. They stylize their phylacteries and tassels to catch attention of others at prayer time and end up distracting the assembly. For Jesus, this is not brotherhood but oppression. His disciples must not imitate these religious figures. They must be different. Jesus teaches them to be brothers to one another. He gives the reason why. They are all children of the Father. When following Jesus, Christians should bear in mind their equal dignity before God. They should interact as brothers and sisters, as children of the same Father. Jesus himself has come to be a brother to all of us. In our communities, there should be no lords and slaves. Everybody must seek to serve others. Are you fraternal to others?